All right, so get this.
Okay.
A solar panel these days
Yeah.
costs about the same as like 8 cups of that, really.
Mm-hmm.
Like that super expensive coffee
Oh, wow.
you get in Brussels.
Really?
It's kind of crazy, right?
That's a pretty good deal.
It makes solar seem a lot less like something
Yeah.
out of Star Trek and a lot more like,
Uh-huh.
something you could actually put on your roof.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And it really highlights how accessible
Right.
solar power is becoming.
Mm.
Like globally, we're seeing this solar boom.
Okay.
And today we're going to unpack why that's happening and
Right.
what it means for all of us.
So we've got reports on like worldwide solar installations,
Mhm.
stories from places like Pakistan
Okay.
and South Africa,
Right.
where solar is already making a huge difference.
Yeah.
And even a look at how solar is changing
Uh-huh.
entire energy systems,
Okay.
like in California.
So let's start with the big picture. Last year, a massive 444 gigawatts of solar capacity
Okay.
were installed around the world.
Wow.
To give you a sense of scale, that's
Yeah.
more than Japan's
Really?
entire power grid.
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
What is driving this incredible growth?
Right.
I mean, it seems like solar was like this niche
Yeah.
thing just a few years ago.
One of the biggest factors is China.
Okay.
They've become the powerhouse of solar panel production,
Right.
and their manufacturing capacity has played a huge role
Right.
in bringing costs down.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But with solar panels popping up everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
how do we even keep track of it all?
Ah.
I mean, are we just relying on countries to like,
That's where it gets tricky.
oh,
We're talking about 146 different
Right.
solar markets.
okay.
And the data
Yeah.
isn't always reliable. In fact, even developed countries
Okay.
like Germany and Spain
Uh-huh.
sometimes underreport
Really?
their solar capacity. And when you get to regions like
Okay.
Africa or Southeast Asia,
Right.
the data can be even sketchier.
Okay, so how do we get a clear picture
Well,
of what's actually happening on the ground?
researchers are getting creative.
Okay.
They're using satellite imagery
Oh, wow.
and even artificial intelligence
Really?
to uncover these hidden solar installations.
Oh, that's cool.
They're literally scanning satellite picture
Uh-huh.
to spot solar panels on rooftops
Whoa.
and in fields.
So they're like solar detectives.
It's like solar detective work.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So what are they finding?
Absolutely.
Are there any big surprises?
Take Pakistan, for example.
Okay.
Officially, they report having less than 3 gigawatts of solar capacity.
Okay.
But based on what we know about China's exports,
Right.
there's clearly a lot more solar power in Pakistan than they're letting on.
So they're underreporting
Yeah.
their solar success.
It's not necessarily intentional. It could be a lack of resources for data collection
Uh-huh.
or difficulty in tracking installations,
Okay.
especially smaller distributed systems.
So what the satellites are revealing
Yeah.
is this hidden solar boom
Yeah.
in Pakistan.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty exciting.
It is.
But I'm curious,
Yeah.
why is solar taking off so dramatically?
It's not just about clean energy.
Okay.
It's about survival.
Wow.
Pakistan is experiencing these extreme heat waves with temperatures soaring to over 52 degrees Celsius.
Oh my gosh.
Solar panels are quite literally a lifeline for many people,
Wow.
powering fans and air conditioners,
Right.
helping them stay cool
Yeah.
during the hottest parts of the day.
That puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
It's incredible how solar is becoming
Mhm.
this crucial tool for people facing the impacts of climate change.
Yeah,
And it's having this ripple effect on their energy grid, too,
it is.
as more people install solar panels.
Right.
The demand on Pakistan's coal-fired power plants
Yeah.
decreases.
Uh-huh.
So this, in
Yeah.
turn, is pushing up the cost of coal,
Right.
which makes solar even more appealing.
Exactly.
It's like,
Like solar is creating its
Yeah.
own momentum.
that's a fascinating dynamic.
Yeah.
It seems like solar is proving its worth
Uh-huh.
in some pretty unexpected ways.
Yeah.
So is this happening elsewhere?
Definitely.
Are other countries turning to solar as like,
Look at South Africa.
okay,
They've been struggling with rolling blackouts.
right,
And that's led to this surge
okay.
in rooftop solar installations
Yeah.
in just 2 months.
Wow,
They added an entire gigawatt
that's crazy.
of solar capacity.
Wow.
That's the equivalent of a
Mhm.
medium-sized coal plant.
Wow. So when the grid fails,
Yeah,
people are turning to solar for like
It's about energy security.
Energy security.
And independence.
And independence, exactly.
It sounds like a real wake-up call for places.
It is, with unreliable power.
It is.
And this trend isn't limited to developing countries.
Right.
Even wealthier nations are seeing a shift towards solar.
Yeah.
But often for different reasons.
Yeah.
Take California, for instance.
Okay.
California, they always seem to be ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
When it comes to renewable energy.
Back in 2012,
Okay.
California relied heavily on gas-fired power plants
Right.
and imported electricity.
Right.
Fast forward to today, and solar has totally transformed
Okay.
their energy landscape.
That's amazing.
In fact, California now generates so much solar power at midday
Right.
that they actually export energy
Wow.
to neighboring states.
That's a dramatic turnaround.
It is.
They went from energy importers
Yeah.
to exporters
Yeah.
thanks to solar.
Yeah.
What was the key to making that happen?
A huge part of it was integrating batteries
Okay.
into their energy system.
Batteries.
Yeah, they can store solar energy during the day
Right.
and then release it in the evening,
Sure.
reducing their need for gas plants.
So it's not just about like slapping solar panels everywhere.
It's about creating a smarter energy system
Right.
that can actually use that solar power effectively.
But I'm curious about the cost.
Yeah.
Even if solar panels themselves are getting cheaper, isn't it still a big investment
It can be.
to set up a whole system with batteries and everything?
But here's the thing.
Okay.
The cost of solar technology as a whole
Yeah.
has plummeted in recent years.
Really?
There have been massive advancements
Okay.
in solar panel efficiency,
Right.
and the sheer scale of production has driven down manufacturing costs.
Wow. So it's like,
It's like the more we make, the cheaper it gets.
that's a trend I can get behind.
Yeah.
So does that mean that solar is only really beneficial
Well,
for big institutions like
solar is becoming
Great.
governments and corporations.
increasingly beneficial for everyone? Homeowners.
Businesses, governments, communities.
Got it.
They're all finding ways to harness the power of the sun.
So for homeowners,
For homeowners,
this could mean,
lower electricity bills,
okay.
and with something called net metering.
Okay.
You could even make money
What?
by selling excess solar power back to the grid.
Wait, hold up. Net metering.
Yeah.
You're going to have to explain that one.
Okay, so imagine
Yeah.
your solar panels
Mhm.
are generating more electricity than your home needs
Right.
at a particular moment.
Okay.
With net metering, that excess power is sent back to the grid.
Okay.
And you essentially get credits for that energy.
Interesting.
Those credits can then offset the cost of the electricity you draw from the grid
Okay.
when your panels aren't producing enough,
Like at night.
like at night.
Okay.
It's a pretty sweet deal.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're generating your own clean energy.
Yeah.
And you could even get paid for it.
Yeah.
Sign me up. But what about businesses?
Businesses are seeing significant cost savings by going solar.
Okay.
They can lock in lower energy rates
Right.
for the long term, which helps their bottom line.
Right.
Plus, it's a great way to boost their brand image and show they're committed to sustainability. We're seeing major companies like Google and Walmart
Right.
investing heavily in solar to power their operations and achieve their environmental goals.
It seems like everyone's jumping on the solar bandwagon.
It is a growing trend.
It's incredible to think that this technology that once seemed so futuristic is now becoming mainstream
Yeah,
and making a real difference.
it is.
But I have to ask,
Yeah.
with all this hype around solar, are we overlooking any downsides?
That's a good question.
What about the resources needed to manufacture all these panels?
It's important to remember that no technology is perfect, and solar does have its challenges.
Okay.
One of the biggest ones is intermittency.
Intermittency.
The fact that solar panels only generate electricity
Okay.
when the sun is shining.
Right.
We need efficient energy storage solutions.
Like batteries.
Like batteries.
But aren't batteries expensive
They can be,
and resource intensive to produce?
but battery technology is advancing rapidly.
Okay.
And we're seeing more efficient and affordable batteries
That's good.
hitting the market.
Right.
These advancements are going to be crucial
Okay.
for maximizing the potential of solar power.
So as battery tech gets better,
Mm-hmm.
we'll be able to store more solar energy.
Yeah.
and use it even when the sun isn't shining.
Exactly.
But what about the initial investment?
Yeah.
Even with falling prices, installing solar panels can still be
You're right.
a significant expense.
But luckily, there are lots of financing options available now, like solar loans and leases, which can make it much more manageable for people who don't have the cash up front.
All right, so there are ways to overcome the financial hurdle.
Yeah.
What are some other challenges?
Well,
I've heard that solar installations can take up a lot of space.
Space can be a challenge.
Is that a big concern?
Especially for large-scale solar farms.
Right.
But there are creative solutions emerging, like agrivoltaics, where solar panels are combined with agriculture.
Oh, wow.
This way, farmers can generate clean energy and grow crops on the same land.
So they're doing both at the same time.
It's a win-win.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love it when we find these multi-purpose solutions. It sounds like we're coming up with some innovative ways to address the challenges of solar power.
There's a lot of innovation happening.
But what about the future?
The future of solar.
What can we expect to see in the coming years?
Is incredibly bright.
Okay.
Experts predict that costs will continue to fall.
That's good.
And new technologies, like something called perovskite solar cells.
Perovskite solar cells.
Hold the promise of even higher efficiency and lower production costs.
Okay, hold on. Perovskite solar cells.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty high tech.
They are.
What are those and why are they so special?
Think of it like this.
Okay.
Perovskite solar cells are like this super efficient engine for converting sunlight into electricity.
Okay.
They're made from this special class of materials that are incredibly good at capturing sunlight.
Wow.
And they're also cheaper to produce than traditional silicon solar cells.
So could perovskites eventually replace silicon?
It's definitely a possibility.
As the main solar technology.
They're still in the early stages of development.
Right.
But they're already generating a lot of excitement in the solar industry.
That's a pretty big deal.
It is a potential game changer.
Yeah.
And it's not just about efficiency and cost.
Right.
Researchers are also working on making solar panels more durable.
Okay.
Flexible. And even transparent.
Wait.
Imagine windows
What?
that generate electricity.
That would be wild.
That's the kind of future we're talking about.
We could turn entire buildings into solar power plants.
Yeah.
This is all incredibly exciting.
It is.
It seems clear that solar power is no longer just this niche technology.
It's a mainstream solution.
It's a mainstream solution.
That's changing the way we think about energy.
But before we get too carried away with the technology, let's zoom out for a moment.
Okay.
And consider like the human side of this story.
Yeah.
What does this solar revolution
That's a crucial point.
actually mean?
At the end of the day, technology is only as good as its ability to improve people's lives.
Right.
And that's what we're seeing with solar.
Okay.
It's providing access to clean and reliable electricity for people who have never had it before.
Yeah.
Imagine a rural village in India or Africa that finally has electricity.
Wow.
Thanks to solar panels.
That's amazing.
That's a game changer.
Yeah.
It transforms lives, empowers communities, and drives economic development.
It's remarkable to think about the ripple effects.
It is.
Of something as simple as a solar panel.
Yeah.
It's not just about turning on the lights. It's about unlocking opportunities. And improving quality of life.
It's truly inspiring.
And it's not just about basic electricity.
And it's not just about basic electricity.
Solar power is also creating jobs.
Stimulating
stimulating local economies, and even leading to better health outcomes.
Absolutely.
So what kind of impact is it having
in
those areas?
Solar industry itself is creating jobs all along the supply chain, from manufacturing and installation to maintenance and research. These are new opportunities in both developed and developing countries. And because solar power is a clean energy source, it's reducing air pollution, which has huge implications for respiratory health, especially in areas that have relied heavily on dirty fossil fuels.
Wow. So it's not just an energy solution.
It's a solution for a whole range of...
It's a solution for a whole range.
Social and economic challenges.
Yeah. But I'm also curious about the larger picture.
Yeah.
How is this solar boom changing?
It's definitely shaking things up.
The global energy landscape.
We've spent decades with fossil fuels at the heart of international relations.
Right. It's all about who controls the resources.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But solar is changing that dynamic.
Okay.
As solar technology becomes more affordable and accessible, it reduces the reliance on those traditional energy sources.
Okay.
Countries that were once dependent on energy imports can now generate their own clean energy.
So solar is empowering countries to become more...
It is energy independent.
It has the potential...
That's a pretty big deal.
...to shift alliances.
Wow.
Reduce conflicts over resources.
Okay.
And create a more multipolar world.
Wow.
Where power isn't concentrated.
Yeah.
In the hands of a few energy-rich nations.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
But it makes perfect sense.
It's interesting how...
It's like solar's shaking up.
A technological innovation.
The global power structure can have ripple effects far beyond its intended purpose.
Absolutely. But let's bring it back down to earth for a moment.
Okay.
We've talked about the big picture. But I'm curious to see how this is playing out in specific countries.
Okay.
You mentioned India earlier. They seem to be making some big moves in the solar space, right?
India is a great example.
Yeah.
They've set this incredibly ambitious target to reach 280 gigawatts of solar capacity by 2030.
Wow.
To put that in perspective, that's more than double the entire power capacity of the United Kingdom.
That's a massive goal.
It is.
Are they actually on track to achieve something?
They're making impressive progress.
Yeah.
They've already installed over 60 gigawatts.
Wow.
And they're adding more capacity every year.
Okay.
But what's really interesting is how they're approaching.
How are they approaching it?
Solar development.
What do you mean are they doing something different?
They're not just focusing on massive solar farms.
Okay.
They're also encouraging rooftop solar installations for homes and businesses.
Wow.
And they're promoting solar-powered microgrids in rural areas.
Okay, so they're taking this multi-pronged approach.
Exactly.
Trying to bring solar to all corners of the country.
Exactly.
And it's not just about providing electricity.
It's not just about providing electricity.
It's about improving lives.
It's about improving lives.
Creating jobs. And reducing their dependence.
On fossil fuels.
All
at the same time.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It sounds like India is really committed to making solar a central part of their energy future.
Yeah.
What about other countries? Are there any other success stories?
Australia is another interesting case.
Okay.
They've been quietly undergoing a rooftop solar revolution.
Really?
Over 30% of Australian homes now have solar panels.
That's a huge percentage.
It is.
What's driving that kind of adoption?
Well,
is it just because they have so much sunshine?
Sunshine definitely helps.
Okay.
But they've also had some strong government incentives and policies that have made solar more affordable and accessible.
So it's a combination of factors that have come together to create this perfect storm for solar in Australia.
Yeah.
And it's not just homeowners. Businesses are also getting in on the action. With so much sunshine.
Yeah.
And the right policies in place, Australia is well positioned to become a solar superpower.
It is.
It's inspiring to see these different approaches to solar adoption around the world.
Yeah.
It feels like every country is finding its own path to a cleaner energy future.
Absolutely.
And there are so many different models to learn from.
There are?
Speaking of innovative models, let's go back to California for a moment.
All right.
They're not just leading the way in solar installations.
Right.
They're also pioneering some bold policies.
They are.
Oh, yeah. I've heard they're doing some pretty interesting things. What's the latest?
Well, they recently implemented a solar mandate.
A solar mandate?
For all new homes.
Wow.
Built in the state.
That sounds pretty radical.
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean?
It means that any new home built in California must have solar panels installed.
Wow.
As part of the construction.
So they're basically making it a standard feature.
Exactly.
In new construction.
It's a pretty groundbreaking policy.
That's really impressive.
And it's going to have a huge impact on solar adoption.
I can't wait to see what other innovative policies emerge.
Yeah. It's an exciting time to be following this industry.
As solar continues to grow.
There's so much happening, so much innovation.
Okay, so We've seen how different countries are embracing solar. But let's talk about some of the challenges.
Okay.
We touched on intermittency earlier.
Right.
The fact that solar power is dependent on the sun shining.
Yeah.
What are some of the solutions to that?
One of the most promising solutions is battery technology.
Right, because we can store the energy generated during the day.
Exactly.
And use it later when the sun's not shining.
Right.
But what about the scale of this? We're not just talking about batteries.
Yeah.
For individual homes. We need solutions for entire communities and cities, right?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see large-scale battery storage projects being developed to support entire power grids.
So they're like giant energy banks.
These projects are like giant energy banks.
That can store massive amounts of solar power.
That can store massive amounts of solar power.
And release it when needed.
Release it when needed.
That's incredible.
It is.
It sounds like we're on the verge.
It feels like the pieces
of a major breakthrough in energy storage
are starting to fall into place.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like the pieces are starting to fall into place.
They are.
And it's not just about batteries.
And it's not just about batteries.
We're also seeing a lot of research and development into new solar cell technologies that are even more efficient and cost effective.
Yeah.
We talked about perovskite solar cells earlier. Are there any other exciting advancements?
Researchers are exploring
on the horizon
all sorts of innovative materials and designs.
Right.
For example, there's a lot of interest in developing solar panels that are flexible and transparent.
Like imagine a world where we can integrate solar panels into windows. Building facades. Even clothing. That sounds like something out of a science fiction movie.
They might sound futuristic.
Solar panels that you can't even see.
But it's closer than you think.
That's wild.
These kinds of advancements could revolutionize the way we generate and use energy.
It's pretty clear that solar power has moved beyond being just a cool technology to something that's fundamentally reshaping the way we think about energy.
It is.
But I think it's important to remember
I couldn't agree more.
that technology is just a tool.
It's about how we use this technology to improve lives and create a more sustainable future for everyone.
And that's what's so exciting about solar.
And that's what's so exciting about solar.
It's not just about reducing emissions or saving money. It's about empowering communities, creating opportunities, and building a brighter future.
It's about building a brighter future.
For generations to come.
But
before we get too carried away, let's take a moment to address
that's an important point.
Some of the potential downsides.
As with any major technological shift
of this solar revolution,
there are potential risks and challenges.
What are some of the things we should be watching out for as solar continues to grow?
We need to be mindful of the environmental impact of manufacturing and disposing of solar panels.
So there's a sort of paradox there.
Yeah.
We're trying to create a cleaner energy future.
Right.
But the process of getting there can
We're
still have an environmental footprint.
And we need to be honest about that.
Okay.
And work towards more sustainable manufacturing practices.
So what would that look like?
This includes things like using recycled materials, reducing energy consumption, and finding ways to safely dispose of or recycle solar panels at the end of their lifespan.
It sounds like there's this whole life cycle.
Absolutely.
Of a solar panel that we need to consider, not just its operation. And another crucial aspect is ensuring that the transition to solar is just and equitable.
We need to make sure that the benefits of solar energy are shared widely and that we don't create new disparities or reinforce existing ones.
Can you give me an example of what that might look like in practice?
For example, we need to make sure that solar installations are accessible to low-income communities, not just wealthy homeowners and businesses.
Right. So how do we do that?
This might involve providing financial assistance, creating community solar programs, or implementing policies that promote solar adoption in underserved areas.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We need to be intentional about making sure everyone has the opportunity to participate in this solar revolution and reap the benefits.
Absolutely.
And we also need to think about the workers who are involved in the solar industry as the industry grows.
The industry grows.
We need to ensure that jobs are created in a way that's fair
in a way that's fair and sustainable.
And sustainable.
With good working conditions.
Right.
And opportunities for advancement.
It's a complex issue with a lot of moving parts.
It is.
But it sounds like the key is to be proactive.
Yeah.
To think about these potential downsides.
Right.
And work towards solutions.
Work towards solutions before they become major problems.
Before they become major problems.
Yes, exactly.
It's about taking a holistic view.
Yeah.
Considering the social...
Right, the social, economic, and environmental impacts.
And environmental impacts of solar energy.
And making sure we're not just replacing one set of problems with another.
And honestly, it's encouraging to see.
It is.
That people are thinking about these things.
Yeah.
And trying to find solutions.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that this is still a relatively young industry.
Okay.
And there's a lot of room for improvement and innovation.
Right.
As we learn more about the potential impacts of solar energy, we can adapt and evolve our approach to ensure a truly sustainable and equitable transition.
Well, I think that's a great note to end on.
I agree.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah, we've explored the challenges and the opportunities.
Exploring the incredible potential of solar power.
The science and the stories.
But also acknowledging the challenges that come with it.
And it's clear that solar power...
It's been a fascinating journey.
...is more than just a technological advancement.
And I hope our listeners have come away...
It's a catalyst for change.
...with a deeper understanding.
With the potential to reshape our world.
Of this complex.
In profound and positive ways.
And rapidly evolving industry.
I agree. It's clear that solar energy has a crucial role to play.
And for our listeners who are interested in learning more
in our global energy future,
we'll be sure to include some resources in the show notes.
And while there are still hurdles to overcome,
thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
The possibilities are incredibly exciting.
We'll catch you next time for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Into a fascinating topic. Welcome back to The Deep Dive. We've been exploring this incredible rise of solar power.
Yeah.
From its plummeting costs to its impact on communities worldwide. And before we, we started to touch on some of the potential downsides.
Yeah.
Things we need to be mindful of as solar continues its global ascent.
It's important to remember that, no technology is a silver bullet.
Right.
Solar power has the potential to be this transformative force for good.
Yeah.
But we need to be aware of its limitations and address the challenges that come with it.
Right. Because if we're not careful, even well-intentioned technologies can sometimes create new problems or exacerbate existing inequalities.
Exactly.
What are some of the specific things?
Well, one of the key concerns
we need to be thinking about when it comes to solar
is the environmental impact of manufacturing solar panels.
So
while solar energy itself is clean and renewable, the production process can be quite energy intensive and involve the use of hazardous materials.
So there's a sort of paradox there.
Yeah.
We're trying to create this cleaner energy future.
Exactly.
But the process of getting there,
and we need to be honest about that,
can still have an environmental footprint.
And work towards more sustainable manufacturing practices.
How do we do that?
This includes things like using recycled materials, reducing energy consumption, and finding ways to safely dispose of or recycle solar panels at the end of their lifespan.
It sounds like there's this whole life cycle of a solar panel that we need to consider.
Yeah, we need to think about the entire life cycle.
Not just its operation.
Yeah.
And another crucial aspect is ensuring that the transition to solar is just and equitable.
Right. We need to make sure that the benefits of solar energy are shared widely and that we don't create new disparities or reinforce existing ones.
Can you give me an example of what that might look like?
Sure.
In practice.
So, for example, we need to make sure that solar installations are accessible to low-income communities, not just wealthy homeowners and businesses.
So how do we do that?
This might involve providing financial assistance, creating community solar programs, or implementing policies that promote solar adoption in underserved areas.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We need to be intentional about making sure everyone has the opportunity to participate in this solar revolution and reap the benefits.
Absolutely. And we also need to think about the workers who are involved in the solar industry.
Yeah, as the industry grows.
As the industry grows, we need to ensure that jobs are created in a way that's fair and sustainable.
Right, with good working conditions.
With good working conditions and opportunities for advancement.
Right. It's a complex issue with a lot of moving parts.
It is a complex issue.
But it sounds like the key is to be proactive.
Yeah, I think being proactive is key.
To think about these potential downsides and work towards solutions.
Work towards solutions before they become major problems.
Right before they become major problems.
Yes.
It's about taking this holistic view.
It is about taking a holistic view.
Considering the social.
Considering the social.
Economic and environmental impacts of solar energy.
Economic and environmental impacts.
And making sure we're not just replacing one set of problems.
And making sure we're not just replacing one set of problems with another.
And honestly, it's encouraging to see that people are thinking about these things.
It is encouraging.
And trying to find solutions.
It is.
It's important to remember that this is still a relatively young industry.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of room for improvement and innovation.
Right.
As we learn more about the potential impacts of solar energy, we can adapt and evolve our approach to ensure a truly sustainable and equitable transition.
Well, I think that's a great note to end on. We've covered a lot of ground today.
It is a good note to end on. We've explored the challenges and the opportunities.
Exploring the incredible potential of solar power, but also acknowledging the challenges.
The science and the stories.
That come with it. It's been a fascinating journey.
And it's clear that solar power is more than just a technological advancement.
And I hope our listeners have come away with a deeper understanding.
It's a catalyst for change with the potential to reshape our world.
Of this complex and rapidly evolving industry.
In profound and positive ways.
And for our listeners who are interested in learning more, we'll be sure to include some resources.
I agree. It's clear that solar energy has a crucial role to play.
In the show notes, thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive.
In our global energy future, and while there are still hurdles to overcome,
into a fascinating topic.
The possibilities are incredibly exciting.